Hi, everyone, and welcome to Hull Say It Best podcast. This is the first episode we are going live together. So it's me and Eddie riding as a twosome now, as weird as that is. How's it going, Eddie? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. It feels good to be here full time now. Started off as a guest, now also playing for your team as well on a Sunday. Now here we are. We're working together to hopefully become the best Hull City podcast. Let's have it.
Step at a time. Let's not start running away with ourselves, right? But you must have said something right, Eddie, because I've took you on full time. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you're DJing at the KC or the MK. 100%, mate. You was already kicking ball for me. So what we've got here is a couple of different things lined up. So number one, we're going to run through Eddie's My's Eye, as we like to call it, but it is My 11. We're going to run through that. After that, we're then going to invite a couple of guests in where they can come in, have a chat with us, talk about whatever they want to talk about, anything Hull City related. And then after that, we'll jump on to another My's Eye, but this one will be with old Grandpa Joe, who is not very old and ginger. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into it. Okay, we're going to jump into Eddie's Best 11, or like we call it, hashtag My's Eye. So,
My's Eye.
getting us going nice and quickly. What we're going to do here is Eddie's going to talk me through his team step at a time. So number one, Eddie, give us a couple of clues, get people guessing who's watching. Give a couple of clues to the guys. Who is it?
So these players, so a lot of the majority of them, I've had a photo with here and there, maybe at the KC or when I've been doing a food shop with my mum. But a lot of them for me is like the personalities that I've seen like on display on the pitch, off the pitch. You always see a picture of them, like a GIF of them on social media doing something quite funny. And then a couple of, like obviously one of them, which I don't think you even know yet, Matt, is one of them that I've gone with. I do actually have a shirt of, so to say, in my man cave. And I was one of them people that you see at the stadium with the.
Oh no! Oh, if I'd known this, why have you dropped this on me now? Aren't you? You shouldn't have told me this.
Mate, it was a long time ago. So, well, I say a long time ago. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'd say it was a long time ago.
I am 100% going to Photoshop you holding a sign saying, "Can I have your shirt, please?"
I've got the picture on my phone somewhere, so I'll send you it after this if you want.
What, still of the sign?
I've got a picture of me holding the sign, if that counts. You can do whatever you want and Photoshop it anywhere in the stadium. You can even put it in the picture of me in the DJ booth at City if you really want.
Yeah, well, I might even just change what it says on it there and just go old school.
It'll be hard because it's in a certain language. So Google Translate helps me out for the language. So
couple of clues. There we go.
Couple of clues. So.
Right then. So number one, we're going to start at the back, and just to add a bit of context to this for anybody, My's Eye is not the best team. You know, the best team on paper. This is not what we're going for. We're going for the team that brings a bit of nostalgia to you. You've got good memories of, people that used to love chanting their name. It could be, there's multiple of different reasons as to why you could be choosing these people. And number one, this goalkeeper, I'm not gonna lie, mate. I'm quite stoked that you've done it. I really like the guy. So,
yeah.
Do you want to give the shout out, or shall I just throw it up?
Yeah. So I had to choose this goalkeeper because, well, for two reasons really. The first reason was England under 21s played against, I think it was Kosovo under 21s at the MKM Stadium. I think it was about 4 years ago.
Yep.
4 years ago-ish, to like pretty much the day. Like it came up on my Snapchat memories the other day, actually. And I was walking, so I was sat in E10 or E11 for that game. And I was walking up to West Ham reception, and I just see this big, tall guy with black, slick back hair. So 4 years ago, he changed his haircut, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Eldin Jakubovic." I was like, "Oh my god, proper sound guy." And I got a picture of him. Absolute legend. Like, I was just so stoked to meet him. And he was just such a sound, down-to-earth guy. But the real reason why he was my favourite, it was the determination and the passion that he showed for the club. Just like the saves that he made, like just his like presence on the pitch. You knew that it was good. It was going to be a safe hands, if you pardon the pun, in goal. So especially when you see the gif of him at Arsenal away in the FA Cup when he does that, like
we all know that one, don't we? Now,
character, wasn't he? So that's why I've gone with Eldin Jakubovic.
I've got to share the nostalgia with you because it's not very often a goalkeeper gets the crowd going, right? You don't often hear that. You know, you get the odd save here and there, but he was a character, wasn't he? And I guarantee if you speak to a couple of people that were, like, for example, in the squad or whatever, they'd probably say the same thing. They'd probably say the same thing about him.
I agree with you. I think his presence alone was just unbelievable. Everyone just got proper riled up, didn't they? When he was like doing his antics, everyone was like buzzing. Like he just got everyone like booming. So yeah.
Go on then. So this moves me on to the next one. A big fan of Jakubovic. Sure, these two played together. So I can't understand why he's playing left back for you. This is the thing I can't get. So I'm going to bring him up on screen and see what anybody else thinks to this. Before Eddie starts talking, everyone just throws some comments in about what the hell is Curtis Davies is doing at left back. Talk me through it.
Well, you'll see in a couple of players' time why he's playing at left back, because there's a certain someone that is featured in the team elsewhere. But for me, I wanted to choose Curtis Davies because, as you'll probably seen on my DJ interview with Hull, I literally spoke about it there and then on the interview, and they played the video itself. It was just a leader, a legend. I know, sorry Zig. I mean, it's just one of them. I had to play him at left back because of what I'm going to do further on that you'll see in the episode. But yeah, just the leadership mentality, the passion, and just everything about him. It was just a true captain, leader, legend. And also when I worked my first ever job in a place called the Triton in Brantingham, he was one of the first customers I ever served as well, and he was very nice to me. So it's all right. It's all right. If anyone's from my neck of the woods, you'll know what Triton is. But yeah, I served him, and he was just a proper pleasant guy to speak to. Really nice gent. And yeah, that I'd probably have to say that's why he was one of my favourites at the club. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, big fan of Curtis Davies. What's your best memory?
Oh, it's got to be the goal at Wembley, hasn't it? That's. I've even said it in the Hull City interview. It's just like I said. I was there with my grandpa as well. Like, and whoever knows me, they know how much my grandpa means to me. Like, seeing that and like just being with him when he scored that goal, it was just unbelievable. It was just mad. So yeah.
Top marks. I think there isn't a head that didn't fall off when he scored that goal, including his own. Everybody lost their heads.
Oh yeah. Well, that's from the goal, wasn't it? So you're just watching him when he's pulling the shirt and everything. It's limbs.
Yeah, exactly. Before we knew what limbs was. Number one centre back then. Here we go. None other than Hazard.
King.
Yeah.
What a boy. Obviously, York lad. Signed him at the same time as Andy Robertson. And yeah, I just thought he was one of my favourites. Like, he was obviously, I know a lot of people might give me a bit of a stick, but realistically, we sort of did make him the player that he is today. I know it sounds daft, but if he didn't come to us, then he wouldn't have been where he is now, I don't think, personally, in my personal opinion, because we give him that platform to go on and reach the highest level in English football, really, like playing for your national team.
Do you find it mad that he didn't really get much of a look in under Brucey as well? He was always playing like second fiddle to Alex Bruce, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think you've got to sort of look at that and think they've got the same last name. It's his son, like. But yeah, that's why Harry's my favourite. I mean, he was just such a brick wall at the back. How he could take out 2 players in 1 tackle, drive up the field, just an unbelievable player, and that's why he's probably my favourite. Plus, I do have one bad thing to say about him. I did ask him to take me to prom when I was in year 11, but he didn't reply to my DM on Instagram, so that's my only downfall with him.
I think we need to untangle that a little bit more. Taking people to prom, I see that as asking someone out on a date.
No, I asked him to drive me and my mates to prom in his car. One of them.
Anything to do with the fact that you both look the same, or anything to do with that?
Could have been. I did have a smaller head back then, though. To be fair, so who knows?
Mini Harry. Right then, this one for me. I don't know. I'm probably gonna say this so many times when I'm doing this with people, but this next person, what a name! Let's bring him up.
The king, another king. Like
that, we all dream of a team of Paul McShanes. A team of Paul McShanes.
It's one of them, mate. It's like same again with Davis. That goal again, like the goal he scored, which basically helped us to go up to the Premier League for automatics again. And I think everyone, I got a picture of him as well. As like I said, he's just a real sound, down to earth guy. Like I think he was playing for Rochdale at the time. I think my family were having a family party, and I got sent out on the on a soft drink run for everyone at home. So I drove up to a garage round where I live, and he'd just come back from a Stockport game or Rochdale game, one of the two. And yeah, he was there. I got a picture of him. Really nice fella, and obviously one of my favourites. Who's just a brick wall, didn't back down to nothing, and scored another vital goal for us.
Yeah, some say train Chuck Norris, don't they? There's many different ways to look at him. He is an absolute titan. So yeah,
definitely.
Another comment coming here from Zig. Looks like Zig's just doing it all by himself tonight. Anybody else want to comment? Pick on him. Have a go on him.
Yeah, pick on me. I can take pelters, guys. I can take them.
Skin like a rhino. So next up, this is your right back now. We're moving across to your right back, and this is Mr. Elmo Hamady.
Yes. So I chose El Mohammadi just because obviously a lot of people didn't really like what he did. Like obviously doing all these crosses all the time, this, that, and the other. But the way that he played, it was just it added a bit more attacking threat. So like, when he's putting the balls in the box, 9 times out of 10 there wouldn't, like, nothing would come from it. But sometimes if it did go in, like obviously it gets the crowd going, you know. And one of my favourites, like once again, shock. I got a picture with him. But one thing that does stick out for me is that game where Paul McShane scored that goal and he's on telly and he's doing that in the, in front of the camera, and I just think he had a bit of a personality about him. Like that's for me. Like you'll understand. You know me. Like you sit behind me whilst I'm DJing at the MKM Stadium. Like you've got to have a bit of a personality to get on with me, and it's
makes me sound right creepy here, mate. I'm not gonna lie. Football together. I've got you as a co-host. I had you as a guest, and I'll sit behind you watching you DJ. There's going to be some stuff going on here, isn't there?
100%.
Crawl out with that. Right then. So El Mohammadi, much like you said about the crosses there, I kind of agree with you. I remember when we played under Steve Bruce and we went to the 3-5-2, or however you want to look at the 5-3-2, whichever way you want to look at it, him playing down the right hand side, our main point of attack was our right back, which was the most bizarre thing ever. It knocks me head off. But let's move on then. We're in centre midfield now. So far, for anybody who's just jumped in, the team so far, Eddie's memorable 11, the team that he loves the most. These, again, are not the best 11. This is a team that he loves the most for multiple different reasons. We've got Eldin Jakipovic in goal. Left back, a bit of a strange one, Curtis Davies. Centre backs, Harry Maguire and Paul McShane. And then right back is El Mohammadi. And you've joined us just as we're about to go into the number one of 3 centre midfielders. So here he is, Mr. Tommy Huddlestone. Give me
yes.
I don't think you need to say anything. We can probably just move on to the next guy. We all know why Tommy Huddlestone's in here, right?
Baller, first of all.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best ball playing centre mids I've ever seen at the club, ever. So he used to live near me, obviously, before he moved to when he left. When he went to, did he go to
Derby.
Derby, yes. So I'd always see him once again doing the food shop when I was with my mum. So, but yeah, I just thought like he was one of my favourites. Like he was just such a good player. Such like he always brought like some sort of. And obviously, I want like flair on FIFA where you're doing like your 5-star skills, but he brought like something where everyone would be a bit like wowed by it. Do you know what I mean?
It was technically, arguably, one of the best passes of the ball we've had in our team. I'm trying to think back, and a name might have escaped me, but I can't think of a better pass of the ball that I've seen in the Black and Amber.
I have to agree with you.
Think of one.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah, he can pass out of anything.
And yeah, I was at the game as well when he got his hair cut against Fulham.
Yeah,
so I think that was the highest scoring game I've ever watched. At Hull. So that's at the time anyway. Obviously, I've seen us beat like Charlton 6-0, this, that, and the other. But yeah, that's why he's one of my favourites. Like he's just one of my favourite ever players at Hull. So what more can you say?
When I thought of this as an idea of things to do, where we can run through people's teams together, I just thought this would be cool. I can see why people like certain players and stuff, but I'm looking at every single player now, and I still haven't done my own team. I've had a couple of teams come into me already, like for guests we've got going on, and I'm thinking, how am I going to pick 11? I've got 42 at the moment. I've got to try and dwindle it down. So I don't know where I'm going to go. This next player is in the current squad. Give us a shout, and I'll swing it on. Who is it?
Ozan Tufan. There he is. Baller, Turkish, Magnifico. What do you want to call him? Anything. I'll agree with you. He's an absolute baller. And like I say,
got a picture of him.
I actually have, yeah. When I was on the last home game of last season, I was in a certain place after the game, and I saw him. But like I say, like if like the question I got asked on the DJ interview, if I had to choose one person to score a penalty to save my life, then it would be Ozan Tufan. Clinical, and he scored 3 against Wednesday. So what more can you ask for?
Cheers, jumping in, Kieran.
Nothing, Kieran. How are you doing? You're right.
Loves the team so far. Can't lie, I love it too. Struggling to see where I will find a bit of a difference. So Ozan Tufan, he's come in unbelievable. He's done so many good things. Bit of a slow start, I think. I do believe we're seeing the best out of him now. Favourite of the pitch. He's heavy, not in a bad way. He's strong, and he does work hard. So, and he's got the final product, which is good. Another comment in here from Ziggy. Up there with T. Hoods as possibly the best midfielder in black and amber with Robbie Corrin.
The Slovenian. It was close. I was going to put Robert Corrin, but obviously it's not with like the best. Obviously, it's like my favourite. So obviously, I would have, if it was the best 11, then I would have put the Slovenian Messi in there. But I
never heard that.
Yeah. Did you not see it? The whole city put it on the Twitter the other day, wishing him happy birthday to the Slovenian Messi. That's a good one.
I've never seen it. Never seen it, and I've just put a typo in with a comment I've just put out. Mega. Right then, let's roll back the years to when we first got promoted to the Premier League and stick this guy in the middle.
Ironic, though. How ironic. Let's just put a hold. What day is it today?
Exactly.
It is a certain player's day today.
It is. It is that day, and we've all seen the highlight. Unless you live under a rock, unless you're an Hull City fan, you live under a rock. You must have seen the highlights today from this day. 15
years ago.
15 years ago.
I'd have been 7. Wow.
Giovanni, City's number 10. Love it. Absolutely. Where was you? Do you remember seeing the goal live, or was you watching it?
Yes. So I had been out for a meal. Obviously, I was only 7, so it was nearly my bedtime.
Big meal.
Big
meal. Fingers, chips and beans. There it is.
No, I think it was I think, if I remember rightly, to be fair, my memory's actually pretty good. I think it was an Italian down Willoughby Road. Next to, well, now it is Newcastle. So it was next to that. And I was with my mum, my brother, my godmother, both my godmothers, and their kids, and we ended up going to a place called Blackburn Leisure Centre, which is literally not far from where I live now. And they had a big, massive screen up. Place was rammed. You wouldn't even believe. And I just remember we got there literally 10 minutes before the goal, and it was like, do you know, like when you see like at the World Cup and you see the fan parks, all the beer goes up in the air. 7-year-old me, I just see this goal going, like I'm going crazy. There's beer landing on me everywhere, mate. It was one of the best feelings in the world. Like, for that goal alone, he's in the squad, you know.
Yeah, I didn't go. My dad had the away direct that year, so he went to every away game. But yeah, I didn't go. I was working at the Good Fellowship, so I was pouring pints. And so there's quite the difference in age between me and you, mate.
Yeah, there is.
Moving on. Let's come forward a few years from there and talk about this guy. I know why he's in here. I love the guy. I don't know if he gets in mind though. It's Kamil Grosicki. So I want to hear all about this. Why is Kamil Grosicki in here?
So funnily enough, that's
got a picture of him.
No, that's the shirt that I've got. So that is the shirt that I have in my man cave downstairs. So it pains me to say it, but I was one of the people that would go to the game. I only ever did it once. I've got 100% ratio. I have 100% shirt to sign ratio, and I feel embarrassed to say it, but it's my first show, so I might as well get the embarrassment out of the way now. This, that, and the other. But yeah, I went, obviously, it was at the time when you'd see like people writing signs like Cristiano Ronaldo, this, that, and the other. Yeah, it was literally that. It was that, but in Polish. So I wrote it in Polish, and so obviously at the time the stewards like doing checks for signs. So what I did is I slipped it down the back of my joggers and pulled the coat over the top. I don't want to give anyone any ideas who's watching, because it was when we played against Stoke at home and we won 2-0 actually. And so I went down to the front at the end of the game, and there was a load of Polish blokes stood behind me, and they were chanting something about Kamil. So I was like, oh God, I'm not going to get it now because he's going to go to them. So I held it up, and then he shook someone's hand in the middle of the park, and he laughed and took his hood down and shook someone else's hand, and he started walking over, and I thought, surely not, like, please, surely not. Takes his jacket off, takes the shirt off, jumps over and gives me it, and I was like, what has just gone on? That is the maddest thing. And like ever since then, I've loved him anyway. Like I just thought he was an absolute baller, but that's why he's my favourite. Turbo Grosicki. So yeah, Kamil Grosicki is my favourite winger. So
is it true that he had an energy drink?
Yes,
he had his own energy drink.
He had his own energy drink. I have not, no, because it was only in Poland. So
was it? I've been there recently. Should have looked for it in all the backstreet convenience streets. Right then, here we go. Back to the current squad. And I'm not going to lie to you, this one was a shock for me. I wasn't expecting to see it. But he looks absolutely majestic in this kit. I love that kit.
Baller. That's all I'm saying. My Persian Prince, absolute legend. You all know, like, people who know me, people who watch the interview, they all know how much, like, this guy is literally my favourite player. Yeah, he's just an absolute baller. Like, I've actually had the chance to meet him. Really, really, really nice bloke. And it was funny enough, it was the only game that my friend from university, who's Iranian, it's the only Hull City game he's ever been to. And it was on the last home game, and we ended up in a certain place after the game, and Aliyah was in there. So they both got to speak to each other in Iranian, and he was like, he's just such a sick guy. But obviously, like, regardless of that, he has been my favourite player since he signed. Like, yeah, I just love the bloke. I just think he's an absolute baller. Like, I'd love to see more of him this season, but yeah.
I think it's going to be a step at a time. With this season, it's going to be one of the things where players are going to have to wait their turn, essentially, aren't they? While we've got players performing well, you're just going to have to wait your turn. But yeah, big fan of the player. Doesn't make mine, though. So, here we go.
Sad. Big sad.
The last one, your goal scorer. This guy is what you're pinning all your hopes on to put the ball in the back of the net. And I know why you've done it.
Because he will.
It's Abel Hernandez. With those two either side, you'd like to think he's got a strong chance.
Maybe if he has maybe if Grzycki gets injured, then you put Philogene on the right. But yeah,
Oh wow, Philogene's really gone up that quick, has he?
I think he's a baller. You know me. I played Billie Jean before his first game, so if I'm doing that before he's even played a game, then you know, it means something to me. But yeah, he's with Abel Hernandez. Just like I said with Curtis Davis, the passion that he had for the club. It was sad to see him go the way that he did. Obviously, if things worked out better, he would have been here for a lot longer, give or take. But I just think like the passion, like the determination, the goals he scored, like also if you ever get here's one for you, Matt. If you ever get a pub quiz question on who scored the first goal of the Premier League season, is it 2016, 2017? Always put A because you'll always be right. Just always put A on one of them speed quizzing ones because you'll always be right. So there you go. There's a fun fact for you.
That's because I'm trying to work this out. I don't know if you're trying to trip me up here. You're saying here because it's either Abel Hernandez or Adama Diomande.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
First letter of the first name.
Moving on from that. Cheers, mate. Something to keep us talking. Comments come in. Zig, Matt, I need to see yours. Cheer me up about the advanced. Well, Philly looked classed, to be fair. That was not me struggling to read that at all. So yeah, mine will be coming out in the next couple of episodes. Won't be doing it just yet. Today it's all about Eddie, and old Grandpa Joe will be doing his later on in the episode. So for anybody who's tuned in and hasn't seen the full team, a quick run through as to what we've got so far. So My's Eye is how we call it, but it's the My 11, and this is where Eddie has shared his favourite 11. These players are not because they're the best players that he's ever seen at the KC or the MKM or whatever ground he's seen them at, although he does think with some of them. Number one in goal, he's got Eldin Jakubovic. Left back, I've said this earlier, bit of a strange one, Curtis Davis. Two centre backs, Harry Maguire, Paul McShane, and then right back is El Mohammadi. Three centre midfielders of Tom Huddleston, and I have completely Giovanni and Ozan Tufan, and then left wing we've got Grzycki, right wing we've got Alias Admesh, and then striker he has got Abel Hernandez. And here it is. Here's how he's laid it out, and I think it looks pretty nice.
It's a pretty good team. If you come across that team in their prime, you'd be a bit scared, wouldn't you?
So two more. Yeah, I agree. I agree greatly. Although you're probably not going to get many balls in down the left-hand side from Curtis Davies, it probably suits the modern game. I'm not going to lie to you, because he'll tuck in while El Mohammadi goes up and supports on the right, and Grzycki's your outlet on the left. So, you know, it probably suits the modern game very, very well. It's a strong squad. Two more questions for you. Okay, number one, who's your captain?
I probably run with Curtis Davis. To be fair, I'd run with him as the captain, leader, legend, as I said.
The out of position Curtis Davis.
But like I say, you know why he's out of position, and people don't know that yet.
Exactly. And second one, who's your gaffer?
So the gaffer, the gaffer has to be a certain manager who everyone in the
everyone who to play at the stadium. Is that what you're saying?
No. Everyone who follows the club knows how much faith we have in this man. And I have to go with the gaffer as Liam Rosenior. That's why everyone was wondering why Davis is at left back. That is why I'm putting Liam Rosenior as manager. It was a tough decision between Bruce and Rosenior, but I thought the way that Rosenior talks, the way that he has the team playing at the moment, the passion, everything like that. And his nana lived in Hull. So what more can you ask for?
Not much more, to be honest. Yeah, fits in perfectly. A left back can do a job there. This has kind of got me a bit excited to do mine. Kind of looking forward to doing it. So that brings us to the end of the My's Eye section for Eddie Richards. Have a look at it. Please feel free to rinse him for it if you've got any slaver you want to give him. I'm more than happy to like and retweet anything you throw his way. Number two being what we're going to do now is move on to the live phone-in. Okay, so that brings the end of the My Side. We're going to have the live phone in. We've got waiting already Lewis Rilton. He's going to jump in and have a chat with us about anything Hull City. Not quite sure what he's going to say. And then we'll jump on and we'll have all Grandpa Joe, provided he makes it in time because he's been at the committee meeting this evening. So,
and he's spamming me with tweets that I'm mentioned in at the moment. So,
oh, really?
I don't know what he's mentioned me in, but my phone's going a bit mental at the moment. So, cheers, Joe.
We will have a quick 20, 30-second break, and then we'll get back into the live phone. When I can find the right thing. Oh, don't go live. Don't go live. Don't go live. Here we go. Right then. How is everyone? Welcome back to the Hull City Best podcast. We are still live. We've just ran through the MySi 11, and now here we are with the live phone in. We've got Lewis Rilton join me, and for anybody who doesn't know Lewis already, look forward to hearing his accent and still try and believe he's a Hull City fan. So number one, Lewis, how are you doing? You all right?
I'm good, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Not too bad. the Geordie Tiger, here he is. Lewis, the thing with these phone-ins, it's an open forum. You can go for whatever you want. So I can ask some questions, or alternatively, you can throw some stuff at me. The good way to start is generally what you're thinking of Hull City right now.
I think we've got to start with the Hull Stoke game at the weekend. Just the incredible performance. I mean, everyone playing was just absolutely immense, and it was just incredible all over the park.
I enjoyed it. Did you go?
Unfortunately, due to the first train at Stoke from Sheffield arriving at 11:57, I might have missed a fair bit of the game, so couldn't go, unfortunately.
Stinker. Absolute stinker. Our man went.
I did indeed.
Love to see it. Love to see it.
Orchestrating the choir down at the front.
You had the very front. I saw you were, looking backwards, giving it all.
I was on the TV. I didn't feel too fresh on the journey home, but we did manage to get the atmosphere going, which was good. Johnny Atker, big ups to you as well. He did some good singing, so I'll give him his due. So yeah, it was a good atmosphere. To be fair, everyone was in full voice, and we were winning 3-0 and more by the Tigers came out. What more can you ask for? So buzzing.
How many pints were sunk in total, Eddie?
Oh, I think I don't know if my boss is watching, so I won't be able to tell you. I won't be able to tell you live, but maybe I'll tell you after. So
we'll say a safe 2 just now.
Yeah, 2. That's that. But 2. That's what we're going with.
Perfect. So Stoke away, we've won 3-1. Takes up to 4th in the league. How does that compare to where you thought we would be?
I was predicting 10th at the start of the season, and I still would have been very happy with that. But the fact that Liam Rosenior has guided his team to 4th so far, we're not that far into the season. Obviously, don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but it's been positive, bar one certain Carabao Cup result a month ago. Like
Mm.
it's been absolutely incredible, the stuff we've seen so far,
It's great,
especially
isn't it?
with. Yeah, go on.
Sorry, carry on.
It was just especially with like the way he's regalvanized, like Aaron Connolly's career, for example. He like no team would have taken him on like last summer, and since he's came to the MKM, he's just been a completely different player to what we've seen at his earlier loan spells.
Exactly. There's so many W's in the at the moment. Like we're winning on and off the field at the moment, and this is why it feels so good to be a Tiger at the moment, or a Hull City fan, however you refer to yourself. This is why it feels so good to be involved with the club at the moment, because we're not just looking good on the pitch. Everything sounds good off it. When we're starting to see Liam's name mentioned in certain things away from from the pitch, it's beautiful to see. As much as we'd rather him stay under the radar.
I think
Right.
was it Micah Richards that said it on a podcast. I think he's given them some credit recently, which always a good sign.
Yeah, Baxter goes to the top. I'm sure Jim White said something similar as well. He said he'd like to see him take an opportunity, but realistically, I think there's only two places he goes. If he was to leave mid-season, I think it's either Fulham or Brighton. I think they're the only two places he would take. Anywhere else, he'd probably wait till the end of the season if we don't get promoted. Would be my view. But feel free to challenge that. What do you think?
No, I think he's certainly a Premier League coach, in my opinion. No other Championship side would have the pulling power to draw him away from Hull, which we've got a lot of ambition. We've certainly got a vision that Rosinia has bought into from Akon, and I only think a fairly big money move in the Premier League, mid-table and above, would be enough to persuade him.
Yeah, do you know what? I don't think anyone like that comes in from yet because he's still a little bit improving. It would be, I think there's an easy. We're caught in the bubble, aren't we, of Hull City at the moment? As many people think, we see Liam a lot more than everybody else does. So the only thing I can kind of relate it to is Southampton last year when they came in for Nathan Jones. I think there's a bit of a similarity there, and I don't see Liam Rosini doing that sort of thing. I think he's just smarter than that. He thinks his time's coming, and if he carries on doing the little things right, even if the results don't make it in terms of us getting promoted, he will get a shot at the big time. I think that's the guy.
I think it's one of the things that we saw with Nathan Jones. It did seem as if he appeared to jump ship a little bit. Like he was doing well with Luton, but maybe he didn't see the long-term plan. Maybe he just fancied getting to the Premier League the fast way rather than building with Luton. And I think Rosini's a completely different coach when it comes to that. He seems to have lasted everywhere he's been. He was with Derby until he got sacked for whatever reason. I'm still very confused with that one, but he doesn't like to jump ship, certainly.
No, I agree. Any questions your end, Eddie?
Yeah, well, obviously with the way, obviously you said you were expecting 10th. What do you reckon your expectation would be now after the start of the season that we've had?
I think in the recent form against some top sides as well, I think I wouldn't want to say it would be a disappointment to not reach the top 6, but I feel like it might be a slight bit of a missed opportunity if we weren't able to capitalise on this early brilliant form and reach the playoffs. Will we win them? Not sure, but I think there would be a slight bit of disappointment, even though a 7th or 8th place finish would certainly be an overachievement in my eyes.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I think obviously when I came on as a guest, I said around the same thing, didn't I? I said I'd be happy with a 10th, but obviously going to Leicester, winning 1-0, obviously not getting the 3 points against Leeds, which is a bit gutting. We're putting up some good results against some very good teams, and obviously with Plymouth this weekend, it's another good chance to get another 3 points, and let's just keep the momentum going. That's what I say, and just keep pushing on.
Here's a chance to talk about a little bit of irony. There's only one game we haven't scored in, and it's Leeds. And let's be real, that's probably the one where we've had the easiest chance in, which is quite in itself pretty confusing, isn't it?
It's just typical City. Unfortunately, I couldn't get to that game, which I'm absolutely gutted with. You
live Sheffield, don't you?
Yeah, I do. But we've always got issues. I've had it at 3 games in a row. Basically, I've only went to Sheff Wednesday at home this season. All the others I've not been able to make it to because the Sheffield to Hull I mean, it's the Hull to Sheffield. Sorry, the last train always keeps getting cancelled, and it's
Talk
impossible
to
for
me
me to
about
go.
it.
It's
I
an
used to live in
absolute
Sheffield.
nightmare.
It's an absolute shambles. Northern
Yeah.
Rail, sort it out.
Mate,
I'm
Northern
used to-
Snail, I
yeah.
like to call them. Oh, slow, mate, aren't they? Poor train.
But yeah, I think especially like the early game that we don't score in against Leeds, you see it on Twitter all the time now that you're saying it's a cup final, this, that, and the other. I think if Adama puts that chance away, then we're buzzing. You know, I mean, we're still unbeaten. Like obviously, we're still unbeaten since the first game of the season, barring the game against Doncaster, which I won't go into too much. But Adama made up for himself at the weekend. I thought. Obviously, he puts that chance away. It's a lot harder than the chance he had against Leeds as well. But he's definitely redeemed himself.
It's
I think
funny,
that
isn't
with
it? Go on.
sorry, it's like with that chance against Leeds, like I would have fancied myself in his shoes. I played in the bottom division for my age group up north, and I still think I could have like hammered it away. So
I reckon you would, Matt, with your dodgy knee.
What was that?
I reckon you'd have put it away with your dodgy knee, wouldn't you?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. There's a
We won't
chance.
talk about what happened on that Sunday, will we?
No, I'm more than happy to talk about it. You know, I probably hit 28, 29, and I became arguably the most injury prone player you will ever meet. The bizarre ways I have got injured are ridiculous. No, it started by
Walking
just
back to
having
the.
Let's not peak too early, mate. That's the best one. Whether it just be a little bit knee pain after playing or whatever, you know, it started with that. Hamstring went, started rolling my ankles, quad went, stuff like that. And I want to go all the time, don't they? So about 2 years ago, I was refereeing, backpedaling, just running backwards, cockled over, ankle went, out for 2 weeks. That was one. Most recent game, about 3 weeks ago, I got injured during the minute silence.
you've got to explain that one.
I don't even know how it happened. Honestly, I don't. I have this little bit of pain in my knee.
Back.
No, I have this little bit of pain in my knee sometimes, and I have to like kind of stand in a tiny squat, like just a little bit of a squat, so I don't feel any pain. So I thought I'll just get into that little squat position while doing this minute silence. Got back out of it, and I was like, nah, knee's gone. And I had to. Eddie was subbed. So Eddie came on for me, and Eddie had to start the game.
I ended up playing, what was it? I ended up playing about 70, 72, 73 minutes, and then I rolled my ankle, so then you had to come back on, and it was just a shambles. But
straight back from the hospital ward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's us. That's charity football. Back to the thing at hand. So Hull City itself, you know, we've got Plymouth coming up at the weekend. Last question for you, Lewis. What are your thoughts going into this game?
I think we've got to be favourites for this one. We saw them absolutely dominate. Was it Norwich that scored 5 or 6 against at home? I mean, it just seemed like an absolute freak result, to be honest. They've got a solid team, but nothing what they're going to come against on Saturday. I think if I had to give a score prediction, I'll say 2-1. We always find one way to concede, but we won't concede more than one with Super Ryan or something goal.
It'd be nice to have another clean sheet, wouldn't it? It would be nice. I'd be happy with that. Are you going, Lewis?
Thankfully, I am. I've had to rely on. So unfortunately, the Saturday trains are cancelled. Rail strikes again, but I've had to rely on my grandparents who live near Grimsby, the other side of the bridge, which don't know how well that one's going to get received. But I'm going to be staying at theirs for the weekend just to see Plymouth, which I'd say that's a fair bit of commitment on my part.
It's honest, like someone's got your family and just thrown them across the UK and just gone, just live with it, get on with it, everywhere. But no, absolute pleasure to have you on, Lewis. Hopefully become a regular. Jump on, mate. I'm more than happy to have you on more often. So, yeah, cheers, Lewis. Absolutely
great
brilliant
stuff. Cheers, Matt. Cheers, Eddie. See you later.
See you later.
Cheers. See you later. Bye.
I've got a question for you, Matt, whilst we're at it, whilst we're just doing the live phone-in. What are your honest thoughts of Ryan Alsop? There you go. There's a question. My first question to you.
Cheers. I quite like the guy. For what we need, if we're going to be a team that's in possession, I think it makes sense to have Ryan Allsop. I know Liam Rosini made a couple of comments about this after the Leeds game, I think it was, saying he's heard a bit of noise on Twitter. I've heard a bit of noise on Twitter. I've got guys that tell me Ryan Allsop's only good with the ball at his feet, but he can't save. Well, he's proven everyone wrong so far, hasn't he? Being good with the ball at his feet, you instantly think it's just to do the short 3, 4, 5-yard passes to get out of danger. But it's proven he can put people in behind as well with his
Look
kicking.
at that 70-yard look at the 70-yard pass on Saturday. I mean, what a ball! I mean, it was just. I think it was literally straight after pretty much there or thereabouts, straight after the first goal. So you can imagine we're all still celebrating, hugging one another, and you just see this long ball fly into Aaron Connolly out on the left, and you straight back up and at him. So it was just class. And obviously when he did that one-on-one save on last Wednesday night against Leeds, I was like, wow, the Cardiff fans really. But it's like I see on Twitter, like Brighton fans and Borough fans giving Aaron Connolly a bit of stick. Look how good he's been. Watford with 2 fan, look how good he's been. Like you just take it with a pinch of salt. And I think for me, we both got our haircut by the same barber as well, so it's.
It's not about me then.
Yeah, I think you need a bit of a shape up there. Yeah,
I do, yeah. You're right. I'm gonna get a short back and abandoned. I think go for that.
Yeah, I reckon shot back and laughed at. I think.
Oh wow, Aaron Maguire's giving me stick. Here we go. Let's welcome David into the chat now. Hopefully he's got a bit of slaver for Eddie. So, David, how are you doing, buddy? All right?
Hi guys. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Really good.
I was going to say,
Number one,
you're talking about haircuts. Mine's a bit of a mop.
I was just about to ask you, where'd you get that from? The 60s?
I've heard that one before.
But yeah, okay. Number one, before we get started, love the shirt. I'm sure that is the shirt.
It is.
From my first year supporting it. We were speaking earlier.
Long sleeve as well. It's quite.
Wow.
Good find.
Respect it. Love it.
2003, 2004 season. 2004,
Yeah.
2005, I think it is. One of the two.
Yeah, 4 or 5 on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Elliot, like Torquay, I think it was. That sort of era.
That sort of era. That's a bit before your time, Eddie. You won't remember that.
Yeah, I only started supporting in 2007. All right, calm down.
You won't have been having a meal for that one, mate.
No, I definitely wasn't. I'd have been having a meal in my high chair at the dinner table with a bib on. That's how long ago that was.
Brilliant. So we've got David on. David has his own individual Twitter page, and he's also got a separate Twitter page, which is Hull City on Film. So please, if you haven't already seen this, jump onto Twitter and have a look for it. Because actually, I won't spoil it. David, what is Hull City on Film?
So I guess it's just like a sort of passion project of mine, really. So I've done sort of photography as a hobby for sort of pretty much since I was about 16. Well, no, probably even younger, to be honest. But yeah, I've recently started doing a lot of sort of film photography again, just because it's quite nice getting the film, sending it off to get developed, not knowing whether your photos are going to be any good or not. Like that's obviously quite especially with sports photography, it's like really hit and miss. But yeah, so I kind of combined my 2 hobbies essentially. So like my love of Hull City and my love of photography. I'd seen that there was quite a few sort of accounts on Instagram and Twitter and stuff which do film photography. So I thought, oh, there's nothing for Hull City. So I thought, why not kill 2 birds with 1 stone and do, yeah.
And I saw it. I was looking through it today, and I saw you get some decent numbers in terms of likes on your pictures. And stuff today, which is good to see. Because
what was it last week? I think Instagram changed something, and it like the engagement on it literally reached about 5 people, which I don't know why that happened. But yeah, but yeah, it seems to go quite well. I made a photo book about a month ago. I had quite a few inquiries from it, just from
I've seen that.
So it's quite cool, really. So,
I must say, I was looking through your account earlier, and I really had to say, I really did like the stuff on there. It's quite fascinating, to be fair. Just like how it looked and stuff. It's not like your usual photography, which just made it feel a bit like more authentic and.
It's more old school. Well, not old school, but it looks a bit more old school because of like the grainy effect on it. So it's 100%. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just to give a bit of a, I guess, different context in terms of like what you see.
You're on mute, David. I want to see if I can.
Am I back?
All right.
There you
Yeah,
go.
and then I just muted you again. Sorry.
Cool.
Uh,
I'll take my
Go on.
earphones out. They're not the best. Yeah, so it was more to just give a bit of different context in terms of, you know, like you see club photography all the time. They have really crisp imagery. It's always really nice. It was just something different, really.
no, it's
Yeah.
good. The couple I've seen, and sometimes you can think it comes across like, please don't take this insulting, because I'm not trying to be insulting. Nothing ever good comes off the back of that, does it? But a couple of pictures I saw, like you can see people in the immediate shot, and then whatever it is in the background. I love that. I think that looks class.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then, like say, with the grainy effects and stuff like that, it shows that real element. Whereas,
Yeah.
like say, the professional stuff, they're just
Yeah.
getting that one bit that they want you to see, don't they? Whereas that just goes, this guy was
That's
in
it.
amongst it, he was zooming in on this, and you know,
Yeah.
and that for me just feels so much better.
Yeah.
Again, you know, big love for that. And drop if you can in the comments after this, drop a link to your page or comment from your page,
sure.
whatever, and try and get some people looking at that and maybe put some orders in on the photo books. So that'd be nice. But
Yeah, it's sorry, go ahead.
Go on. So Hull City, when was your first game?
Wow. My first game was like 2001, something like that, against Hartlepool. Classic City. Ryan Williams scored first half, and we absolutely dominated, but we just didn't take any of our chances. And then second half, I think they scored like the 86th minute to equalise. And 1-1. Just Classic City, just but that's kind of so that was Bullfrey Park, and then obviously switch over to KC a few years after that, and sort of been on and off a member since, really. I've worked in like Manchester and Stoke and places like that, so I've kind of been sort of through jobs, so sometimes the membership sort of took it on the head. But it's since I've moved back, it's been like one of the first things I thought of getting back, to be honest.
Oh, good stuff. So recent form, then, what are you thinking? Because I'm looking at it and I can't remember a time when we've been like this. We've won our last 3 away games, but we've drawn our last 3 home games. Like you normally expect to see this other way around. Like, what's your thoughts?
I was saying to my friend when we left on against Leeds, I said it shows how far they've kind of come when you consider that we're disappointed to not win games against a relegated Premier League team and a playoff finalist from last year. So like to me, it shows the sort of progression. So I mean, disappointing in terms of like not taking the chance with Traore against Leeds. But I mean, from my point of view, it was kind of like it shows how far they've progressed, that you're coming away disappointed that they've not won.
What did you think to the Leeds game then? Did you think it was a point gained or 2 points dropped?
I think tough one. I think like first half, I would have said point gained because they were all over us. I think if we didn't have Allsop, I think that would have easily been 3-0 at half time. We just couldn't seem to adapt for me. Then second half, I think even before they had a man sent off, I thought we looked like we were sort of coming into the game quite well. But it was one of them where it's just like on the counter, because they've got so many like quick players, it was quite dangerous. So, I mean, I think when you look at it from a point of view of that miss, I think it probably does feel a bit 2 points dropped. But when you actually look back on it, it's probably quite a good point, really.
Goals change games, don't they? I'm a big fan of this, and it changes the dynamic of how teams like to play. I'd hate to, I wouldn't think we would play the same if Rutter scores that first goal. You know, he gets through, and that point we probably come a little bit more open at the back, and they were really good going forward. So, like you say, I think we could have easily gone in 3-0 at half time. Could that Rutter goal have gone in? So, you know, based on that, I think I'm happy with the point, regardless of how it happened towards the end. You know, and kind of is what it is. What's your thoughts on that, Eddie? What do you think?
I'm the same as you. I think with that first half, obviously, I thought that we were a bit slow. I think obviously the atmosphere was booming until about the 25th minute mark, when they started to like get a bit on top of us and things like that. And I think Allsop kept us in that game like 100%. Like the past 2 games, did he get man of the match for Leeds? Didn't he? If I'm not mistaken. And he gets man of the match last week on Sunday. And I think like you say, we could have been 2-3-0 down at half time, but that second half when we've come out, all guns blazing. Sadly, Adama, he misses the goal, but I genuinely thought, like, I'm a bit gutted that we've dropped 2 points, but I'm happy with the point. Like, I was speaking to a few people in the pub before the game, and I said, like, well, what are your thoughts? And they're like, well, we're going to get beat. And I was like one of the only people that said, I think we'll have a draw or we'll win. But after seeing that first half, Rosie must have got a hairdryer out or something, because they just turned it around straight away. And I thought the second half we were the better team, and it could have gone anyone's way, really.
Yeah, I think the fact of City, I think for me at times they seem to need like a half to feel out a team, and then they're like, oh, actually, we'll come on to them now and we'll go at them.
Definitely. I have to agree with you.
Football's kind of played in phases now, isn't it? Where it's like, it's not just like a gung-ho for a full 90 minutes. It just doesn't work like that. So it's interesting to watch.
Do you know, sometimes when you try and strip it back a little bit further, knowing that the game is played in phases, do you know when you've played football yourself at 11 aside, you think, we don't do that. And trying to constantly think of that, like if you're in a game, I don't think I'd have the mentality to do that, right? So we're just going to sit in for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah,
I don't think I've got that mentality. You just want to go gung-ho, don't you? We're playing for fun.
I played for some shocking teams when I played Sunday League. But yeah, I don't even think phases were even a thing in the mindset. I think it was like, just don't get beat 10-0. Like,
yeah, exactly that. I'm going to ask you both a question now. I've only got one answer for it. I'm hoping you two can find another one. Think of players that have played for both Plymouth and Hull City.
I've only got one, and I think it's the same as you.
I've only got the one as well.
And to be fair, he did used to be my favourite player, and then I totally forgot about him after I'd submitted the squad to you. So,
oh really?
So mine, he's got. Well, I think he had long black hair whilst he was at Hull. Yeah. I think he had an Alice band. If I remember rightly. Peter Halmosi.
Yeah, I was going to
say.
Did
he play for Plymouth?
Yeah, it's the Peter Halmosi derby, isn't it, on Saturday?
David. Do you know what? It completely. I've got somebody else.
Sonny Bradley.
Yep. All right. Cheers, mate.
Funny enough, I was actually speaking to Sonny today. I actually know him. So
how many names? Right, I'm going to go back through this stream and see how many times you have name dropped. I'm going to do that.
Do it. You can go back for it. It's a good 20 times now.
There's some memes going on the back of this. Eddie, do you know any famous footballers, Dave? Eddie, I'm talking to David now.
No, I can't say I do. I know a few friends who went to school with well, I say school. I went to the same school as, but my friends are close with them, like Max Clark and people like that. But wouldn't say I know them. Know of, but yeah.
I've spoke to Caleb Folan before on.
I have twice actually.
I've literally got no pulling power. Literally got nothing.
Weird story. Me and a few of the boys when we first turned 18, classic like in betweeners kind of thing. Went to Ibiza, and we were like, it was the bank holiday weekend, and me and one of my mates, big Hull City fans, and it was like we were both pissed up at this bar, and I saw this real tall guy walking towards us, and I was like, is that Caleb Folan? And my mate was like, no, why would he be in Ibiza? So obviously we'd had a few, so I was like, no, this won't be him. And and then literally it's like, Caleb, and then he looked real confused and was like, oh, we're all City fans. So then he came over and spoke to us, and yeah.
Did he get you a drink?
He didn't, no.
Human.
Caleb. He came across so nice on the podcast as well.
I had a bit of a weird interaction with. Well, he's a current Hull City player. He's out on loan at the moment. That was a weird one. So I told you about the time
we grew up with Harry Wood.
No. We were coming back from Malta, and we had obviously our flight from Amsterdam back to the UK got cancelled. So we're being proper tourists walking around the lovely parts of the red light district, and we were walking and we see a familiar face. He played centre mid for us. So I was saying to the boys, I was like, I swear I recognise him. I swear it's
Woods.
I swear it's Ryan Woods. I went,
that ginger hair sticks out, doesn't it?
And then all the lads were like, Eddie, go and ask him. So I went, I went, I went, are you Ryan Woods? He went, yeah, I am. We're all City fans with that. I've never seen a kid scarper so quick in my life. It was hilarious. So funny.
As he's
But
pulling
yeah.
his pants back up. Keep it PG, Matt. Come on. Jeez.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
wow.
kids watching, Matt. You need to keep it PG.
Daddy, what's the red light district? But yeah, kind of is what it is. Isn't it? Kind of is what it is. He used to keep himself calm. Yeah, all kind of good on that front. So, what are you thinking for the game coming up then? 3 points?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's hard to say a championship. It's like it's such an unpredictable league. But yeah, I mean, I'd say, yeah, I'd probably say we'll concede. I think I kind of echo earlier, like 2-1. I'd be happy with. But I mean, I don't know. I like the look of Philogene. I think he's a bit of a difference maker. So I think he could run rings around. I don't know who the left back is, to be honest. So he might be actually really good. But
Mumba.
Yeah.
I think he scored a goal. Actually, I've seen this goal that he scored as well. I'm just looking at the lineup. They've got that Hardy who plays up front, who's got 5 already this season, with 3 assists. So he looks like an handful. But however, they did score 6 at the weekend, so it could be completely different before that. Mumba, I don't know if you've seen it. I think it was the first or second game of the season against Huddersfield. He picks the ball up at left back position and just runs for everyone and just taps it in the back of the net. Like, legit.
So he's obviously quite good then.
Yeah. Remember when Tariq Lamptey first came on the scene?
Yeah.
It just reminded me of that. Just bullet. Yeah. So that kind of is what it is. Do you make any changes to the starting lineup?
I don't think I do, to be honest. I think Twine was rightly dropped. I think he looks. I don't know. He's not a winger, is he? He doesn't seem to fit that sort of mold where he has been playing. So I think he's probably had a bit of unfair criticism because he is playing out of position. But yeah, I think maybe the only change I'd do is maybe Tufan for Traore potentially. But Traore's scored and he's done pretty well on the last game. So tough one, really.
I agree. I liked Liam Delap. He's a bit of a revelation in the way he's old school. He just runs it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He's like the phrase is the kid in the playground. He literally just gets the ball and wants to run it, which is so good to see. But sometimes it's the worst decision to make in that moment.
Yeah,
it's a little bit frustrating, but that's not criticising him because I was gutted to see him dropped at the weekend as well.
Yeah,
so,
it kind of shows the depth of it, doesn't it? Really, when you consider it.
Exactly that. So, Dave, been absolute pleasure to have you on. Hopefully, you come on again in the future. We're going to move on to now what is the next part of this episode and the final part of this episode, which is another Maizai, and we're joined by Old Grandpa Joe. I don't even know if he still goes by Old Grandpa. I thought it was just Grandpa now, but yeah, Old Grandpa Joe. So, Dave, like I said, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. I'll look out for your stuff again, send some retweets across, and liking your pictures, etc. So, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it.
See you soon, guys.
All the best. See you later.
All the best. Eddie, how about that? How are you thinking to the first live phone in? How did you think it went with the guests?
I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. I'm just staying quiet at the moment. I'm just staying in my little hobbit hole, but I'm enjoying it. I think, especially with what we've got planned, what we've spoke about as well. I think the only way is up, to be fair. And I think we have a few good things lined up that we can't wait to show everyone.
No, I'm kind of pretty stoked for this as well. There's
I think
a lot of good stuff coming. But let me welcome in Mr. Old Grandpa Joe. How are you doing?
He is.
Right, buddy?
How are we both? All right.
Good. How are you?
Not too bad.
Yeah, great. I've got a little Ryan Woods story to add to yours, Eddie.
Here we go.
What do
Mr.
Ryan Woods and I have in common?
Go on.
God, where do we start?
Well, when I asked my English teacher about this, I showed her a picture of me and Ryan Woods together, and she said, "Okay, both wearing a Hull City jacket in this picture, the ginger hair, and I'll quote her here: good set of gnashers on both of them." What I wanted from her when I was explaining this was for her to pick out that there's more than just one similarity between us, and there are other differences. Long story short, outside the ground at some point last season, I was mistaken for Ryan Woods.
Oh wow! I know he's small and ginger, but like you said, there's
Well,
more key differentiators than that. You're pretty tall now, though, aren't you?
I'm 6 foot tall.
Oh,
He's a good 4 inches shorter than me.
nah, that's a violation, Joe.
What a treat!
Well,
What
it
an
was
absolute
like
treat.
these 2 kids came up to me, bless them, and there was this one lass who was like, "Oh God, get him to sign this," and then a mate was just sort of like, "I'm not sure," and a few awkward looks later, after I was saying, "Are you sure you want me to sign this shirt?" They thought I was Ryan Woods.
Well, they could have been asking for your signature, Joe. Like,
Well, I signed
any-
this one thing, and the lad was looking at it, sort of like, "I don't recognise that autograph. It doesn't look like a City player's autograph. He doesn't look like a footballer."
You to be fair, Joe, you were stood there on Wednesday night. Actually, you were stood with what's he called, the Hull boy. When that little lad asked for my autograph with my DJ and stuff. That was my first ever autograph I ever had to do ever.
Oh,
And I got asked outside the West Ham reception. I was buzzing. So
It would have been me on Wednesday night. I wasn't there, but you're right. I
Was
am
it
out
not?
there.
Might have been Ryan
I swear
Woods.
It could have been Ryan Woods. To be fair, he could have been watching.
But no, I am typically there early. Yeah, stood with Marcus and all the
Yes,
other lads.
that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
that's
it.
brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, Eddie's not actually seen your team yet. Obviously, I've done all the visuals on it, you know, the backgrounds and stuff like that for us to run through. The cool thing about this then is Eddie's going to see this for the first time right now, and there is, in my opinion, a couple of standouts where we just
You're
have
right.
to say, "Tell me more, please.
Okay.
Tell me, make it make sense, please."
I will make it make sense. Don't you worry.
So here we go. I'm going to jump straight into this now. So number one, we're going to jump straight in with your goalkeeper. Now, I've set this up in the background. I'm 99% certain all of this fits on the screen properly. And if it doesn't, I think I'm just going to click on end stream. All right.
We'll come back to it later.
Yeah, we'll just do it. We'll just come back. The pilot didn't work too well. So here we go.
Now,
Yeah,
so
we're in.
when you mention players who have played for both Hull City and Plymouth, Callum Burton is another one.
Ah,
Oh,
Ziggy
Also-
Stardust didn't throw that one in his list, did he?
Also,
Yeah.
you could have had Warren Joyce
Done his
and
own.
David Stockdale.
David Stockdale. What a player.
He's been
Oh,
on
yeah.
loan more or less everywhere.
More
But
loans than
Callum
Wonga, that guy, hasn't he?
This one makes sense when I tell you why. So, back in the good old days when we used to get let into the training ground, me as a 12, 13-year-old lad went down and Callum Burton, bless him, gave me his gloves. So that's why he's in there.
Treat.
What a player.
That's why he's in there. I was always really fond of Alan McGregor. I think Tim as a guy, he's brilliant. I really like Matt Ingram. He's a sound bloke. But Callum Burton, that little gloves gesture, that gets him in there for me.
Definitely.
Good. You know,
I like that.
And-
Respect it.
that's exactly what this is about. This Mai's Eye. You know, this is exactly what it's about, because we don't want to just see, oh, well, he made that absolutely outstanding save once. You know, we don't want to see that. Oh, he's arguably the best goalkeeper we've ever had. That's not what I want to hear. I want to hear them little moments like that, because unconsciously, anybody who's watching this is going to be picking those points up and just seeing about some of the players that we've had and some of the stuff that players actually do for us as the fans. I mean, granted, you've got to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go stand outside the training ground and hope to not be mistaken for Ryan Woods. But sometimes it pays off. Sometimes it pays off. And this is what we're here for. Okay, so next one here. Right back.
Even
Again,
more obscure, this one.
yeah. I'm not going to tell you how long I spent looking for a picture of him. But here he is.
Oh my God. Proper blast from the past. Wow.
Let me
Josh
guess, you went,
Blackton.
did you go to
This
school
one,
with him, Eddie? Or,
No, I did not. No, I didn't.
this one dates back to what I think was my 13th birthday. It might have been 12th or 13th birthday. I'm not sure which one it was, but I was a mascot. We played Reading, and we were let in the dressing room before at the end of our tour of the ground. And this is just as the players arriving. Nigel Adkins comes in, says hello to everyone, has a really nice chat with all the mascots. Michael Dawson the same, Fraser Campbell the same, and then just sort of sat on his own in the corner was Josh Claxton. And me being the little City nerd that I was and still am at this time,
Hi, Josh.
I just went and sat down next to him because I knew he'd come through and sign for us all at some point. So I thought, he's sat in there. I know who he is. I just went and sat down and he signed for me and was a really sound lad. Just so he just sort of sat on his own in a corner, and then because I was the only one there who knew who he was, I just went and spoke to him, and yeah, he was really, really nice.
Do you know what? You look a bit like Josh Claxton.
I look more like Josh Claxton or Ryan Woods, mate.
Grow your hair out a little bit more, and I'd go with Ryan Woods. But for now, it's Josh. I think Josh takes.
Another thing about Woods, he's like 10 years older than me, more. So that's a bit disheartening to be mistaken for him, isn't
it? At least you'll get ID to a shop. That's a good thing.
Well, yeah.
You went down the red light district when you got mistaken for him, was you? No,
I've never been to Holland.
Eddie bumped into old Grandpa Joe and he just scarpered. That's what it was. Right then, moving on to centre backs. Love this guy. Love this guy. Love this guy. Love this guy.
Michael Dawson. Yeah. Great guy. Another sort of mascot story. He was really nice. He went and spoke to everyone, took time to talk to each family and things like that. And then at a recent event he did with Andy, where like a members evening thing, he was absolutely brilliant. I said to him, Michael, I showed him a picture of my day as a mascot and said, Michael, this was the last time I met you. And he was talking to me about that season and players we brought in and Nigel Adkins and all that sort of thing. Happily answered my question about his tackle on Fernando Forestieri in the playoff final. And he said it was quite the heart in mouth moment for him as well, as much as it was for us, but it was all right in the end. And yeah, he got a lot of stick for how he left, sure, but in my experience with him, he's been all right.
He's always come across as a nice guy.
It was a good guy. And I bet he's got tons of stories that he just keeps to himself as well.
I bet he does. Playing for England, he must do. He did admit that his worst manager in his professional career was Juan de Ramos. He happily admitted that. He wouldn't touch the best question, but when Alex Burgess asked him, who's your worst one, he jumped straight for that microphone and said Juan de Ramos.
Give it here, I've got the answer for this. I know we know that works, don't we? We know that works. Right then, next one. I think I've got a feeling as to why this guy's in here. He's in the current squad at the moment. Again, love this guy. Love this guy.
My mate, what a guy. I've known Greavesy for 5 or 6 years.
If I get this every episode, I'm going to stop doing it, honestly. Oh, I know this guy. I know this guy.
Matt's going to get another name drop with me. I used to sit next to him in geography at school, so...
Oh, did you?
So I need to be careful of all these name drops, don't I?
Why didn't any of these players grow up on Brandsome? Why didn't they go? I went to the school next to Liam Cooper. He doesn't know me. He's not from Scotland. He grew up in Hull. Not far from. Go on. Anyway, sorry, Greaves. Geography pen pal.
About 5 or 6 years, and that all stems from a small little interviewing podcast venture I did a few years ago, which COVID brought an end to. But to get it off the ground, me and my mate sent messages to loads of City players, and we got 3 or 4 back. One was from a now released academy player called Jay Rouse, who never went pro, sadly for him. Ahmed Salam was another one. Keane Lewis Potter was another one.
Yeah.
But out of the 4, the only one that pulled through was Jacob Greaves. And he came in, chatted to us. This is the summer where he's signed his first professional contract. He's about to go out on loan to Cheltenham. And since then, he and I have kept in contact. And he's great. He owes me a shirt, though, and he knows he owes me a shirt.
Do you know what? I'll give you that. He's a proper nice lad, and obviously, like you say, he always sticks by his word and that. And I do have a lot of time for Greasy. To be fair, obviously going to school with him and that. Well, my claim to fame, he'll never admit it, but the last game of football that you always have the day you leave after your GCSEs, you have that one massive game of football, and I made sure I got that final tackle in on him. He'll never admit it, but that's one thing that'll stay with me.
Was it an attempted career ender, or was it?
No, it actually wasn't. It was a nice little. It was like Harry Maguire against QPR when he took when you see the two players go flat. It was one of them ones.
Wow,
ball and all tackle.
A lot of Harry Maguire resemblances coming on.
I know. DJ, that's the real question.
Yeah, I've heard he's better than you as well.
Yeah, I think he could be.
Joe, do you get in early enough to listen to Eddie's set?
I did not, unfortunately. I was busy typing up junior committee meeting things to put on Twitter. Where, can I say, Eddie, the club were incredibly complimentary of you.
Really? I did say earlier, didn't I? I said, Joe's tagged me in a tweet and my phone's going absolutely mental. I would love to know what they were saying, but we'll save that for
the point on the agenda we got was, we love the DJ. Someone sent that in, and the club and all of the club head of operations was there, facilities manager, fan engagement manager, head of marketing, ticketing, safeguarding, the lot.
Legends.
They all were incredibly complimentary of you, mate. I couldn't speak highly enough of you.
Wow. Well, do you know what? Like, this is the thing. Like, you'll see, like, through my tweets and things like that, the amount of love and affection that I have for the club, like, it's just been one mad whirlwind of love and everything, and just like, even it's just like the little things, even with like having my own branding up in the stadium, that just it stays up all the time as well, which is just amazing. Like, they're just class, and like, big thank you to whoever put me on the meetings agenda. That was very kind of you. Thank you. So
pay rise, I think I was talking about. Pay rise. So I put it on there. This guy needs a pay rise. Right, let's move. We've got Jacob Greaves, all round nice guy, best friends with Joe, best friends with Eddie. Don't have a clue who I am. Left back.
He'll get to know. This one is a little bit less lovey-dovey like that. This one is for motorway driving.
Oh, here we go.
Oh.
So, this is nothing to do with Max Clark as a footballer for his time at City or whatever. This is coming back from Middlesbrough. Pardon?
Can I guess?
Have a guess.
Was you a 13, 14-year-old boy in the back of the car on the way back, and you've done that next to him?
No.
And he's bibbed his arm?
No. This one is a unique story because it was coming back from Middlesbrough away, where Keane Lewis Potter scored that winner at the end of the 2021-22 season. I think Max Clark was playing for Rochdale at this time. Must have been coming back to Hull because his motorway driving seemed to really wind my dad up. My dad gets so annoyed at people on motorways who pull past you, accelerate, pull back in, and then drop right back and slow right down.
I know what's happening. Your dad's the middle lane driver. It's a game people play.
Was my dad in the middle lane? Yes, I think my dad was in the middle lane.
Your dad's a middle lane driver, mate. This is the game that everybody plays. It's called orbiting. So if someone stays in the middle lane, you overtake them, go back into left-hand lane, then you slow down, wait for him to overtake, and you essentially just orbit the car that's in the middle lane. That is exactly what's happening there, mate.
Pulled back in front of us into the middle and slowed down. So my dad, like going at 70, thought, "What's this idiot doing?" Pulled out into the right-hand lane, left-hand lane, whatever, and overtook him. And then me sat in the back of the car. I have a glance. that's Max Clark there. Oh, Dad, that's Max Clark there. He played no games when we won League One.
Give him the bed.
Yeah, he's driving like a kid. So that's what that story. That's why Max Clark's in there.
That's going to be a short and get sent to him 100%. He's a dickhead.
That's a real nerd.
100%. All lads in Hull City shirts. His pictures next to him. Max Clark, yeah, dickhead. Right, moving on. Next guy, is he a dickhead or?
Depends which one you choose. Jake Livermore. This one.
Wouldn't call him a dickhead while I was looking like that.
Yeah, definitely not. This is for him as a player.
Yeah.
I just thought he was brilliant. Simply brilliant. Both me and my dad thought he was absolutely ace. I was gutted when he left. And, well, the other day, two of the lads who go early went to watch Leeds versus Watford, and they were in the hotel, and Jake remembered one of them and treated him to dinner.
Oh, really?
So that's a little nugget I can add in now. But he's purely in here because I absolutely adored him as a player. Absolute workhorse. Brilliant.
Do you know what I didn't like as a fan base? We was a bit harsh on the fact that, he went through the scandal, didn't he, with the sniffing thing. And instead of, as a group of people who've supported him all this time, instead of supporting him, the reasons why he did it, we made a chant about it. Kind of laughing about it, and I couldn't get my head around it. Honestly, couldn't get around it. And I love the guy, and I don't know if that maybe fed into the reason why he left us, but yeah, big fan of the guy for the same reason as you. He came in at the same time as Tommy, and they were both brilliant.
He's genuinely nice guy as well. I can remember he was having dinner with Steve Harper. That's another name from Blast from the Past. My mum, I think she was 40. I think she was having a meal basically in. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It was Medici in Ferriby. Well, it was Medici anyway, and then it shut down. And they were all taking photos and stuff. And someone who was with her was like, "Oh, can you stop taking photos with they're having a meeting and things like that." And then my mum, obviously, she had a few sherbets, and she went, "It's my birthday this Saturday. I'm not going to stop." And then turns out they had 2 bottles of champagne sent over, and it turns out Jake Livermore found out it was Mum's birthday, and he said, "Happy birthday! I hope you have a nice night," and give him 2 bottles of champagne. So wow. Nice bloke,
all round nice guy.
Wow,
nice guy. Although I don't think he's as nice as this next guy. This guy is arguably in my top 3 for just people I love who play football.
If this is the guy I think you're talking about, he's in my top 1.
David Myler. Absolutely love the guy.
He is my absolute just dream to interview.
I agree. I'd love to.
I was me and a few mates went to the book signing thing he did. The book's in that cupboard somewhere. And I was just sat in that. I was sat right at the front, just absolutely in awe of him for that entire 2 or 3 hours that we were there. And he was just absolutely brilliant. I love him as a player because he wasn't your sort of flashy player. I know.
I couldn't believe it.
My granddad used to take the mick out of me for liking David Myler. And I very regularly put him in his place and told him he's incredible.
Big fan.
And I know that history is on my side. Sorry, Grandad. But yeah, ace. Words simply don't do it justice.
Big fan of the guy. Big fan of the guy. For anybody who's just jumped in now, there's not long left. They're about to go through the final 4 players, I believe, for Joe's Maizai being short for my 11. So far, what we've got, you have to tune in to try and give the read to understand the reasons for this. But we had in goal, we had Callum Burton, right back Josh Claxton, centre back of Michael Dawson, centre back of Jacob Greaves, left back of Max Clark because he's a dickhead, Jake Livermore.
My dad thought he was a dickhead.
David Myler, and then the next guy. Bearing in mind here, boys, I want to point this out because much like Eddie, he had Curtis Davies at left back, and it threw me. And I didn't understand it. This next one's going to throw you all as well, because never, ever, ever did I think I'd see this guy put in a centre mid position. But here he is.
Yeah,
Here
here he is.
Harry.
Here he is.
He fills out the middle three for Grandpa Joe. I did ask him in the build up to this, and he's given me his reason, but I'll let you guys hear it.
I couldn't not put Harry in here. And next time I see him, I'm going to tell him this because he is just the sweetest guy ever. He is absolutely incredible. And
I have to agree with you. There,
and
Joe.
I'd like to think, and I hope Harry would agree here, me and him get on very, very well. It started at Ferriby, I think.
Like it's some sort of love rom-com.
I know.
Well, it all started back in Ferriby when
this story begins. I think his first under-21s home game after signing permanently and his trial period ending. I met him, thought nothing of it before the game, thought, oh, he seems pretty all right. But then after the game, he'd had a bit of a tough game. He played well, but he missed a load of chances and he came off and he looked really down and stuff like that. From outside the dressing room at Ferriby, you could hear him shouting to Jim Sims, no, Jim, I'm not going in the effing bar, or that kind of thing. And when he came out, I just sort of said to him, look, chin up, mate, these things happen and you didn't play badly at all. And he he appreciated that. Open training session a few weeks later, and there he's just sort of sat on his own during the signing session. And I'll never forget this. He's just sort of sat on his own, quite glum, head down, because no one really knows who he is. And he sees I'm next in the queue and his face lights up with a smile. So we'll have that.
There you
we
go.
go.
You take that. You take it.
All 6'3" of Joe looks down on Harry, taps him on the head. You did all right, son. You did all right. Don't you worry. You did well, mate.
And then from there, me and Harry, we just get on really well. I was buzzing for him when he made his debut, and he's just such a nice guy. And every success he goes on to have at Hull City, because I'm confident there will be many, he deserves everything he gets.
You know, he comes across, you don't see this often with players, you know, some of them, whilst they probably are, the perception they give off is different. But this guy doesn't do that. He looks like he just loves playing football. You know,
his feet
looks like
so
he's living his dream
on the ground. His feet are so firmly on the ground, and you can see with some players who play academy football, they think they are so much bigger than they are. But Harry, he broke into the first team last season, and that hasn't changed him at all.
No,
that hasn't changed him. And he, like I say, he's just the absolute sweetest guy you'll ever meet.
Oh,
proper nice lad.
Look at you two. Right.
For the book. Honestly, Harry, if you're watching, I love you, mate.
Let's move on. Let's move on to the last few then. Here we go. So, believe you put in this guy right wing. Mr.
Yes, I am. This
Snodgrass
is a weird story, but there's always a stage in primary school, and it's in the curriculum that you have to do some form of swimming lesson.
What? Where is this going?
Trust me, it makes sense. So, Robert Snodgrass, this is during the time he was injured. We'd been
the same swimming lesson classes.
We'd been to Halton Price, and spent the afternoon there, all dried, all ready to get back on the bus to go back to school. Robert Snodgrass comes in, and he's injured at this point after the QPR injury on the opening day, and it was such a surprise to see him there. I was wearing a Hull City jacket, and he just came up to us. I had my arm out for a high five, cheeky 8-year-old me. Came up to us, patted us on the shoulder, gave us a high five, said hello, and that's all. As a young fan, that's all you want.
You remember these things, yeah. I agree. I think I think the first ever, you remember those moments, don't you? And it just fills you with joy when you look back at it, and that's probably one of them. And it's, you know what, the context isn't even the same here. But my first away game was Colchester away. This is going back some time, and they went round at half time saying we're looking for people to take penalties at half time, and I got selected to go on the pitch and take a penalty at half time. Anyway, young, no injury problems, bagged it, no issues. Then ran across to the Colchester fans like that. Absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. Yeah, that's where shithousery started. So yeah, that started with me. And moving on. Right then, left mid. This guy came in at a time when we'd just been relegated, and Nigel Pearson brought in a handful of Man United players, and this guy was one of them. And I loved this guy.
The reason Robbie Brady is in here is because he scored the first ever goal I saw Hull City score live.
Which game?
My very first game, Middlesbrough at home, in our promotion season under Steve Bruce. His first season, Robbie Brady, I think it's about 75th minute, cagey game, pulls a free kick out of nowhere from edge of the D past the keeper. And he was essentially like my first favourite player because he scored that. He was the first player I got on the back of a shirt. And yeah, it's like you say, it's little things like that. And that, him scoring that goal, had we not won, so many things might not have happened. I might not have gone away from there thinking, oh, that was really good. Can we get a season ticket, Dad? That sort of thing.
Could have been a Middlesbrough
fan. But Robbie Brady scoring that goal, it was the catalyst for so many great things that have happened in my life. And for that, he's got to be in there.
No, I love that. He brought so many happy memories, to many of us, because it felt like doom and gloom when we went down, and when we brought in those players, we went for the period of Nigel Pearson, whatever happened there. Then Nick Barmby came in and took over, whatever happened there, and we still managed to keep those players during that rough transition time and go back up with them, which was, just a joy, wasn't it? It's just a joy. Now, leading your attack earlier.
Before we get into that, can I just do a few honourable mentions?
Go on.
So,
hold on. Absolutely no chance. If they're not in your 11, their name aren't said. This isn't your top 17, 18 players, Joe. This is your top 11.
Can I not give you two? Because they're great stories.
Go on then.
All right. Sam Clucas, 1, ginger hair. 2, met his mum in East Mids Airport coming home from Lanzarote one year. And she picked out the Hull City shirt. Love that. Second honourable mention, Dean Windass, sat next to his nephew in geography for 3 years. And he gave me a lift home from the barbers once.
Class.
I don't bump into these people.
Mate, you need to come and live at our neck of the woods, and you might.
Yeah.
I've also been in a sauna with Dean Windass, so we'll say that as well.
We're back to the watershed, so you can share that story if you want. Oh, okay, sorry. Sometimes there should be a filter. Right. Here we go. Right. Striker. We had this earlier. I said to Eddie, this is the guy who has to score all of your goals. This is your main man.
Oh, yes.
And I don't think you got that brief because you've gone with Tommy.
Here he is.
Respect it.
Here he is.
The only guy who's called the goat because he looks like one. Sorry, Tom, if you're listening. Sorry, mate.
Fun fact, I was actually going to go with this myself, only because of the club that I worked for last season doing social media. That was the only reason why because I had quite a few good interactions with him. But
apparently now I'm the weirdo. I'm in the wrong.
Yeah, man. Tom Eaves.
Let me guess, you washed his car.
No, I didn't wash his car. I wish. No, just a really nice bloke.
It comes across that way. It's all tongue in cheek from me.
Genuinely, really nice bloke. This is the sort of day and age where there aren't many fans who go early to games, and there were like two of us, and we could stand and have a joke with Tommy's for 5 minutes before he went inside. So someone had tweeted a picture of him where they'd put his face on Jesus. So we showed him that picture, and all that kind of thing. Someone edited his face onto a goat, and we showed him that, and we had a laugh about it. And you know, we got on. Eavesy was really good to all of us fans, and you know, that last game that he played for us at home against Nottingham Forest, essentially after that game, waiting for him afterwards, the only sort of thing I could have been doing more to beg him to stay was get on my knees and like start praying. But yeah, love the guy, honestly. I'm gutted that Rotherham last year and this year hasn't fallen for me, in that I can go early and say hello to him again, which is a real shame for us. But that time will come. And yeah, he's just an all-round absolute legend.
No, and kudos to yourself for picking the guy out, because many people could, when it comes to picking the striker out, you can easily get lost for different reasons. So the memories of the goals they've scored, you know, the feelings they've give you when they've scored certain winners, etc. The memories you could have created with loved ones who are maybe not with us anymore when somebody scored a certain goal. There's tons of different reasons why you could go with different strikers. So to go with that man and stick with it, kudos to you. I hope you appreciate I've done you a solid here as well, because behind us three is Ozan Tufan, the picture you've asked me to use, and Ozan Tufan does not make it into your squad, which in the realms of everything confused the hell out of me. But yeah,
well, that's just simply the only picture of me where I'm not holding a camera like this, or there's one of my mates in the photo with me. So I'm not sure quite how they'd feel about being put on there. So I thought we'll err on the side of caution.
Fair enough. But that does now bring everything to a close. It's been, for me, I don't know about you, Eddie, it's been an absolute pleasure for our first one together, bringing in this new feature, which is the Mize. I actually spoke with Joe about this probably a good 6 weeks ago about something I wanted to do. A lot of things have changed during that time. I've had a lot of personal things going on, which means I cannot do this. I couldn't do this as regular as I wanted to, whereas we're back to doing this every week, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So we're bringing different features every week, ways that we can keep this entertaining for everyone. So I will ask anybody who's watched it, please show us your love. If you've enjoyed it, if you've just had a minute's worth of fun from this, please show some reciprocation in any way you see fit. But other than that, I've been Matt. This has been brilliant. Eddie, anything to close down on?
Yeah, I just think what a great episode to start on. It's been a pleasure. What a journey that we're about to embark on, and I can't wait for everything that we've got lined up. And just watch this space. Will be the best 8 p.m. podcast on a Wednesday.
Yeah, hopefully there's no ripples on the back of that. We sent a little tweet out earlier, and obviously there is other podcasts out. There's other podcasts out there. Just so happens to go live at the same time as ourselves tonight. Kind of is what it is. Tried to make a bit of lightheartedness about it. No response. It went unread. Obviously, we're too small time. But you know, maybe we'll win an award one day. Maybe. But on that note, thank you everybody who's joined me. So that's Eddie, whether it be Lewis, whether it be David, Hull City on Film, and Old Grandpa Joe. Old Grandpa Joe. Lewis is also doing a lot of journal stuff on his Twitter page, and also Hull City on Film. Everybody's doing their own little things at the moment. So one of the big things I say about this is collaboration. People get together. Let's not make enemies. Let's not create rivalries. Let's enjoy this club as one. So that's why I want to get people like this on, people that have got their own stuff going on. So yeah, check out Old Grandpa Joe's stuff on YouTube. It's actually really good. The photos, No worries. The stuff that David's doing with the pictures look phenomenal, and like I say, the stuff that Lewis is throwing out as well. He makes stories out of certain things which are cool, and he gets a lot of likes on there as well, so they are relevant. Check them all out. So thanks for everyone. It's been a pleasure. Signing off.